That was the first thing I probably ever told my parents like I wanted to do. And I remember my dad said, "You're gonna end up broken, divorced if you,
Oh,
if you."
man.
And you know what? Surprisingly, he said that about multiple careers that I was interested in.
Okay.
So,
Season 2, the podcast.
I don't care.
I had to shut off all my emotions.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Season 2 of the podcast. Happy New Year. It is 2025. For all of you who listened last year, thank you so much. We are just getting started, and we're going to start out the new year ripping and rolling with a full dive into the NFL. The playoffs are coming up. Week 18 just finished up, right, fellas?
Mm-hmm.
Not on a high note for us Minnesota fans, but it did finish up, and we're going to dive into a whole list of things. But we're going to kick it off with a let's think about it question. I proposed a question to the fellas, I don't know, I put it in the document a couple weeks ago. Backup careers. Have you guys ever thought about that?
Constantly. I've worked a number of jobs in my life, so
Yeah.
you could say I've had lots of opportunities for backup careers for sure.
Mine went straight to food. I went to a chef. If I had to choose, like start now and do anything, I would be. I don't know about a chef because I think a chef is more fancy stuff. I would be living in a smoker in a barbecue pit, just smoking meats, drinking whiskey,
So this
living
isn't-
my life.
This isn't like legitimately something you thought about when you were like growing up, or like.
No, it was, and my mom and dad can attest to this. I truly wanted to open a restaurant or a food truck. I just loved cooking as a kid.
Mhm.
And I would just try a bunch of different stuff. And I liked being in the kitchen and learning and just throwing things together to see what makes good food and what is horrible.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would love to have a restaurant. If money wasn't involved and I could just do it today and it would be successful,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I'd be living in the kitchen.
I was gonna say if there is no money involved, I mean, same track as you. That was the first thing I probably ever told my parents like I wanted to do. And I remember my dad said, "You're gonna end up broken, divorced if you."
Oh man.
And you know what? Surprisingly, he said that about multiple careers that I was interested in.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. Or very young, I said that I was thinking about wanting to be a cop,
Okay.
not really understanding what a cop actually does.
Yep.
And he was like, "You would want to deal with the scum of the earth every day. You're gonna end up broken, divorced." This was always the same. So,
You're gonna
Always
end up
ends
broken
with
divorce.
you.
but you know what? He was correct. I'm glad that I did not go into like culinary related things, because definitely I would have wanted to go to something more bougie, and
Yeah.
I don't think I have what it takes to run a restaurant. But honestly, what I really wanted,
It's hard. Before you jump into what you're going to say, it's hard. Like, you look at some of these restaurants or these like documentaries, because I've seen plenty on food. I like watching the Netflix stuff on there.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, I lived on a floor for about 5 years, bounced around from couch to couch.
Mhm.
I was at the restaurant for 3 a.m. until 11 at night.
yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
if you
7
haven't
years.
already, you should watch The Bear.
I
You
haven't.
would love that show.
And I haven't. I haven't
rules.
looked into that one.
the Bear absolutely rules. But yeah, the amount of times that I've watched like Chef's Table on Netflix, and I remember one, it was like she just had kids, and she was like, we lived above the bakery.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bakery that she worked at and owned, and she was like, I would do all of the morning stuff.
Yep.
Run back upstairs, do all of the lunch stuff, go back upstairs, do all of the night stuff, go back upstairs, and then like middle of night stuff I do it. And like she just did that for years. And I'm like, I don't have 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 of my body.
That's crazy.
Can't do it.
That's crazy. I watched the Chef Table noodle, noodle edition,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
some guy kind of took a weird path to culinary school, and he just wanted to learn how to make pasta. Just really, really,
Yeah.
really good pasta. And he literally went overseas, flat broke, lived with random people, became the America's best or well-renowned noodle guy now.
Mhm.
Like, he's the dude. It took like 12 years of his life, but doing exactly that every single day, 3 a.m. up till 11, learning, doing that. I'm like, I can't do that.
There's a psychosis involved.
Yeah, I
in
can't do that.
doing that kind of stuff. But when I was growing up, I really liked the Travel Channel and Food Network, and
Mhm.
I mean still do, but like at night they would show No Reservations, the Anthony Bourdain show.
Great show.
And I loved it because he was completely different than the over like sanitized celebrity chef people, whatever. He had edge and like all this cool stuff, and I own a lot of his books, and I just wanted to be him. I just wanted to be him. So I wanted to be a travel writer and then be a chef and like, you know, do all these things. Really, really just wanted to be him, which is not a career path of being another person.
He was a writer first, right? He was a journalist, and then it
No,
kind
he
of
was
turned
he
into
was a-
food, or
no,
was
he
it
was a
opposite?
cook.
It was, okay.
He was a cook for a long time and then just progressed
Gotcha.
into writing and having his own show and everything like that. So
Gotcha.
I just wanted to be him.
That I've watched that
Yeah.
show. It looked pretty nice.
It's
The
just,
places he got to go and got
Yeah.
to see.
But also, and this is kind of like what fed into pursuing journalism, is like he didn't just go to like Chicago and Hawaii and like the nicest places in the world. He went to Baghdad. He went to actual war zones. He went to Somalia. He went to all of these different places around the world and was actually like almost like a CNN like frontline reporter in these situations and talking about how food brings people together and like these differences are not so big and don't have your conceptions misconstrued and like all those types of things. So that's what I really loved about him. And then, I mean, obviously I didn't pursue it at a global level, but like working in a journalism field, like I just wanted to kind of be close to him in that regard.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
I remember watching one, and then we'll let Trevor talk over there.
Nah, I'm boring anyways.
I remember watching one where I think he went to like Africa and he visited with like 4 tribes.
Yeah.
And they were all different. Like the tribes were kind of the same, but they were all had their own like their own things they did, their own traditions, and they'd be.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking
They'd
about.
be
Yeah.
like drinking fresh blood and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, and that's normal for them. That's just
cooking brains in dirt.
exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're sitting there, you're just like, okay, if I'm over there, yes, I would respect that and try it, but there's not a chance in hell that you wouldn't try it. If you
Oh.
were over there, would you try it? You would have to.
I
You
would-
almost
I
have
would
to
have to.
respect them like that.
If anyone serves me anything, I will try it.
Yeah.
Like I do feel like that is the respectful thing.
You're not ordering that off the menu.
No.
Fried brains and dirt.
I've never had brain in general. I've
Right.
had
Head cheese?
I've never had head cheese.
Me
no.
neither. That's brain, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Anything, Trevor?
Nothing unique. I've known for a long time that I wanted to be an engineer. So if I wasn't a software engineer, I would just be a different type of engineer. So probably the first one I wanted to go into was mechanical. So it's not really anything exciting here. I mean, if you
3
go way
years
back, because
old.
you did
I
talk
love
about
it.
childhood. No, childhood.
okay.
So really young, I loved animals. So I always imagined working with animals somehow, and I don't know what. And then as soon as I hit biology and realized it's all about cells, I'm like, no.
I'm out.
Okay, to be fair, when I was very young, I wanted to be a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay, well, really young.
Okay.
All
So
of
if we
my
wanna be
what did
way
you
back
dream
there,
to be?
yeah.
It was NBA player.
I was gonna say
Every single
I was
time.
gonna say, was it? I want to be a mechanical engineer
No.
when I'm 3 years old.
Maybe 1 year there might have been NFL player, but it was almost always NBA.
Oh, absolutely,
Mine was basketball or baseball. It's like, let's just make one of those when I was really young and see what
Mhm.
happens.
absolutely.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I don't think I'm ever going to get into the cooking stuff.
But if you were to do that, then it takes it away as your hobby.
True.
Like that's what I've always. That's why I've always said to Sam, and like my mom has always said stuff like that to me, and I'm like, but then it completely destroys my love for it.
Yeah.
Like it's gone.
You don't enjoy it. Well, you probably still enjoy it, but I know what you mean. It's
Oh
not.
no, I would be burnt to a crisp.
You would.
I would be destroyed from that. I mean, that's what happened
man.
with me in journalism. I was
Yeah.
working 80-hour weeks for a whole year.
Gosh.
After that, I was like, no, thank you.
That's crazy.
See, that's my limit. There's my limit. I know what my limit is.
80 hours a week,
for a whole year. Can't like
2-hour deadlines. You get a report. Hey, you got to get this in 2 hours. Have fun.
I was the editor. I was setting the deadlines and I was hitting the
Oh,
deadlines. So
jeepers.
it's a
You're
little bit
screwing
different.
yourself.
I was gonna say it.
Like, what it-
Yeah,
Oh,
I was the
man.
problem.
I love it. I love it. Hey, let's jump into it. NFL playoffs right around the corner. First game is when? There's no
Saturday.
Thursday night, right?
Saturday, yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, correct?
Mhm.
Correct.
What do we got? What's on the docket? What do we got, Matt?
Well, I mean, this is the playoff matchups this week. So obviously Detroit gets a bye. Philly and Green Bay, Tampa and Washington, and LA and Minnesota. LA, Minnesota, that's the Monday night game. And then in the AFC, Kansas City gets the bye. Buffalo and Denver, Baltimore and Pittsburgh, Houston and the Chargers. So I don't know how to feel about these playoffs. This has been a really wonky NFL season. See, there's been ebbs and flows of teams that have really like blown me away. Like, it blows me away that Kansas City can win in the most offensive ways possible.
They have not scored over 30 points all year.
And offensive might be an incorrect way to say it, because then that might seem like they have an offense, but they don't. They win in the like grossest ways possible. I can't believe that they are 15-2 this year, but they are. Detroit, incredible offense. I could probably put 50 points on anybody, but that defense is not that great, and they've had so many injuries. Philly has one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. Green Bay, they just fall apart. They lost to the Bears last week. I don't want to look too much into it. Malik Willis played most of that game, but still.
But Jordan Love didn't look that great when he was in.
Tampa fell ass
backwards. Did he get hurt, or did they pull him?
He got hurt.
He got hurt.
Elbow or hand to
I did see that. Yeah, the elbow injury. Okay.
But, they held him out just for precaution.
Makes sense.
Tampa fell ass backwards into winning their division. Like, Atlanta tried their best to lose it. Washington, they're look, no offense, but like, there's nothing there, man. I'm very sorry.
The Commanders?
Come on, one win, please.
LA and Minnesota, they've been fluctuating a lot. Minnesota, especially in that last game, makes it hard to believe in. Buffalo, they've got some promise. They beat Kansas City earlier this year, but also they put up some stinkers. Denver, that's fun, but there has not been a rookie who has won on the road as a quarterback in the NFL history.
Until Jaden does it.
Maybe Jaden.
In Tampa Bay.
And then Houston or Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Baltimore looks legit, but Pittsburgh looks like absolute
they look
garbage.
Like the worst team in the playoffs right now.
But then there's Houston and the Chargers. And the Chargers, good defense, solid running game, but like Herbert's not lighting the world on fire. And the Texans have looked like horrible all year. So it's
in Texas, right?
Yes.
I think they're underdogs in that game.
I bet they are.
I think they're the points and the spread.
They should be,
they're underdogs.
The Chargers don't look special either.
No.
So I think this is just going to be a very unpredictable playoffs. A lot different than like last year, where it felt like Kansas City and the 49ers are just going to blow through everybody.
Yeah.
But what I would say in general is maybe there's some cause for upset.
There could be.
Maybe there's some cause for upset. It's been a while. The listeners haven't heard, because obviously the last episode was a Christmas draft episode, which so you can still vote. Stay in line if you are in line. Please vote. The polls are open. Please vote for me. I had the best draft.
No.
But anyways,
wrong.
We haven't checked in on
Trevor is winning right now, by the way.
Ooh.
Well, he's filling the ballot box.
Probably.
Our voters know.
He's the one making the fake accounts.
He's got Rudy Giuliani
I don't even
on
have
the case.
a single account. I can't even vote with my own account because I don't have one.
But we haven't checked in on Commander's Corner in quite a while, and I know Taylor's been itching to talk about it.
I'm itching. It's been a while.
It's been since
Philly.
right before Thanksgiving.
I don't even know what week that was.
It was a long time ago.
You thought it was right before Thanksgiving, because you thought the Commanders played on Thanksgiving, but they played the week before.
Yeah,
and lost to Dallas.
That's why we didn't talk about it. We didn't want to talk about the loss.
No, we didn't want to talk about the loss. But then they rattled off 5 in a row.
So the Commanders are in the playoffs.
Yes.
Got a big game against Tampa.
12-5 against Tampa Bay. Washington's number 6. Tampa Bay's number 3. We're in Tampa Bay. You just mentioned that there's been what was the stat? No rookie quarterback has went on the road and won a playoff game? None. In the history of the NFL?
None.
Until this week.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels, baby. Number 4 in QBR. I know QBR kind of goes through all the stats through the year, right? Passing yards, completions, all that stuff. How does QBR break down? Do you know?
It's on a weekly basis.
It is, okay.
Yeah, it factors a lot of things into it. But
he finished 4th in the league in QBR.
Sure did.
And then we got Baker at 13th in the league at QBR. I think Baker's just down there because he's just launching interceptions.
Yeah, that is his
constantly.
Problem. But he takes big risks, gets some big rewards sometimes.
He does. So Washington's coming off 5 wins, so that's big. I think they got some momentum going in. Here's my thought. We're not going to go back through all the regular season games. I think if Washington can win one playoff game, that's their Super Bowl. Because do you expect Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders to be in this position 12-5? I think I saw in the document they had a combined 12 wins the last 2 years or something along those lines.
Yep.
So for Jaden to come in and mature and do what he's doing and finish in the top 5 of quarterback ratings, it's pretty good for a rookie. McLaren had a good year. I think he finished with like 1,100 yards.
They just need to find a way to fill the spots around him. Like
the spots around Jaden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they need to shore up that offensive line for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They have a lot of openings to improve.
Yeah.
But right now they're a two-person team.
They were third overall in rushing yards per game. True fan here. I don't know who's doing the majority of the running right now because I know they've been through some injuries this season with those 3 running backs. I don't know. I think it's going to be a shootout. Jaden and Baker. I don't think the defenses are going to do much. I think it's going to be about 35-41.
Bet the over.
Bet the over?
Bet the over.
They were saying bet the over with the Vikings Lions game. That was under.
That was way under.
under.
They set that line way too high, but that's a whole other thing.
That is a whole other
closer
story.
than you'd have thought.
But I think it's going to be a shootout.
After the first half.
I'm excited to see what Jaden can do in a playoff situation on the road. But one win, our season is a success, I think. Really.
You don't think that this season is a success just making the playoffs in general?
It already is.
Yeah, I was going to say it feels like everything else is gravy at this point.
Yeah. I can agree with that. Jaden's only going to go up. I think he finished
But it was already a success, but he's saying it's the Super Bowl for them if they win the first playoff game.
Right, because honestly, if they get past that and if they have to head to Philly or Detroit...
there's no
Their only
chance.
hope would be that, well, even then, like, I hate to say it because now I'm going to be the one cursing the Vikings.
Well,
but even if things went absolutely insane and every wild card won, actually, it could be the Rams too. But either way, if they played... So if the Packers win and they win, then the Packers head over to Detroit. Philadelphia's out, which leads them to they could play us or LA.
Washington?
Yeah.
In which case, they still probably that's a very tough game for them.
Yeah. I would say if they win this next one, they're not going to make it any further. But it's a huge accomplishment this season, going 12-5. Yeah. Jaden doing what he was doing. He stayed healthy for the most part. He was able to mature throughout the year. Like I said earlier in the year, being able to sit in the pocket more and trust the O-line as much as he can. I know it's not a great O-line. And actually take shots down the field, use his legs. He led his team in rushing yards. Did he lead his team in rushing yards? He might have. Like 857 rushing yards. I think he did. It's crazy what he can do. They were
good at rushing. I feel like the reason they're good at rushing is because he's just good at everything.
Well, that's what I mean. I think Jaden took a lot of those early runs in the early part of the season, and then their running backs are still pretty good. The big thing that I looked at when it came to Tampa Bay, and then we can jump into some other playoff picture situations. The first matchup, Jaden wasn't comfortable in the pocket because they played real early. He wasn't. He just looked to run. I think he had like 130 yards that game on the ground. It was pretty crazy. And then Tampa Bay really sagged off. They dropped into zone a lot, so it allowed Jaden to do what he was doing. Now Jaden sits down a little bit more. So those 5 to 12 yards or those longer completions in that range, I think Jaden's just gonna rip them up. But it's gonna be a shootout. I don't think that we have anyone to really put on Mike Evans and stop that little train.
I do think actually you do.
Who?
Well,
you have Marshawn Lattimore, who, if you are not familiar with Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans' absolute hatred for each other, Marshawn Lattimore, he was
on the Saints, right?
He was on the Saints. So that was the Commanders' big trade, and unfortunately, Lattimore's been hurt for most of the year and hasn't been able to play. It looks like he's good to go. I think they held him out last week just as a precautionary thing. But Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore literally fight every single time they see each other, and they've been kicked out of multiple games for fighting each other.
I love it.
So, not saying it's a game plan here.
Get them both kicked out and see what happens.
Throw a punch first minute.
If Mike Evans is out of the game, like I seriously, Mike Evans is out of that game, that leaves Jalen McMillan, K-Dot,
who's been playing really well though.
Right, yeah, McMillan. Oh my God, that 30-yard touchdown that he caught from Baker was an absolute rip. God damn, that was incredible.
Baker
Anyway,
can-
sorry.
Baker can sling
But-
it. He
but-
can sling it.
But then really you have to worry about Bucky Irving more than anything else for the Bucks offense.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a huge win. That's a huge win. If the Bucks, if the Commanders don't
their
have
run
to deal
defense
with Mike
okay?
Evans, it's not great.
Who?
Yeah.
Washington?
Yeah.
No, it's not the greatest. I think they finished like
so they might just
16th.
get ruined by not even.
I think they finished like 16th in the league, which middle of the pack.
Yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
but there's potential there. There's potential that if the Commanders invested in their secondary, if Lattimore can at least hold on to Evans a little bit,
Mhm.
hold on to him as in throw a fist into his face
Yeah.
mask. There's a good chance there. There's
Yeah.
a good chance there.
I like my chances.
So you would say that
I'm looking forward to that game.
that's your most exciting game to watch this weekend? It's not.
It's not. Minnesota actually is.
Minnesota is.
For the fact is, I want to see Darnold as a professional athlete come back from what he did last game. You can blame whoever you want. You guys are more the Vikings fans. From what I watched, from like the outside looking in, I wanted the Vikings to win, obviously.
Well, if you want a fun
Darnold-
stat, last time he failed us and had a bad game, he went on a 9-win streak.
Well, so I didn't know that stat. Darnold did not have a good game at all. You can blame the refs. You can blame whatever you want. He missed passes. He missed Jefferson 3 or 4 times. You could have called that pass interference on who's the tight end for the Vikings, where
on
it was
Hawkinson.
coming across the middle like a big play. He got his arm literally hit way before the ball was there. You could have you could have done that. I want to see if Darnold can bounce back.
Yeah.
And if they can, I think the Vikings can be dangerous throughout the playoffs. Because your defense can only do so much. And they held them decently well throughout, 3 quarters?
Mhm.
And then Gibbs just said, screw all you guys. The defense is
Yeah.
tired. Let's just run it up their throat. And it ended up being 33-7? No,
31-9.
31-9.
Yeah.
But
And you missed a field goal.
that's what I was actually most excited about in that game, which I wasn't excited about basically anything. But the one okay thing was I was scared that we were not going to get pressure at all on Goff. We did.
They did,
Yep.
yeah.
We got plenty of pressures. We just failed in other areas. But
So I'm most excited about the Minnesota game. Can the Viking, and I want to hear you guys what you're most excited about coming up in the NFL playoffs. Can the Vikings can they prevent a little less pressure coming on Darnold? Because now I think, who are they playing?
Rams.
Rams. They saw that and they're like, okay, let's just send people. Because he sits back, they're running like 15, 20-yard routes, which I don't
You
understand
need to change
why.
the play calls. You need to
Yeah.
adjust in the middle of the game.
So is it
Yeah.
Darnold's fault? Maybe. Is it the offensive coordinator's fault? Maybe. I
Is
think
it
it's a
everyone's
combination.
fault?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. But I think they can bounce back, and I think they're going to put a whooping on the Rams. Not a whooping. I think they're going to win by a touchdown.
I would definitely say hesitation wise, play a little devil's advocate here for Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
The
Eddie.
combination of Kyron Williams, Puka, and Cooper Kupp is something that is definitely going to hurt the Vikings. And look, we saw the game earlier this year, Thursday night. Ended up with Darnold in the face mask in the end zone, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to talk about the refs in that situation, but we ended up losing that game. It was the only other team that we lost to all year. Those guys can rip us apart.
Yeah.
And if we can't get to Stafford, and to go back to kind of your Goff points and getting pressure on him and everything like that, if the pressure does not get to him, Goff killed us. It's going to be the same situation for Stafford.
Yeah.
It'll be even worse.
If Stafford can see the 6-man rush coming at him, and he can just throw a quick pass, they are going to rip us apart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, is the Rams rushing attack with like Jared Verse as good as what the Lions have? No.
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 Not even close.
So maybe there's more of an opportunity there, but Darnold's shakiness makes me really reluctant to have a really great feel on what the Vikings are going to be able to do in this playoff game.
Yeah.
I'm holding my breath.
I can see that.
I'm holding my breath. Sean McVay, probably one of the best coaches in the NFL. Kevin O'Connell comes from that. I was not impressed with O'Connell's inability to really change the game plan whatsoever in that game against Detroit.
I don't know if he made any changes.
Didn't seem like it.
He probably did, but visually, from a fan's perspective, I don't know if he made any. Because it looked like the same exact team. Because we came home and watched it, but it looked like the same exact team in the second half.
I mean, part that kind of, I'm not trying to, I definitely am not defending. I think he did need to change plays, but if there was any defense to him, we did get to the red zone multiple times.
4 times.
We just couldn't do anything when we got there.
We got within what? The 10. Is the red zone inside the 20?
Yeah.
Yep.
So they got down with inside the 10 3 of those 4 times, and they couldn't score.
Yep.
And did they try to go for it once down there? They were 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 on fourth down conversions. Down there. They went for it twice. It was a bad day to have a bad day.
It was.
And they had a bad day.
It was. And I think it would have been a lot better if we got to play Tampa.
Yes.
Yep.
I think we handle them a lot easier than LA. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. LA is a tough team. And I think Minnesota, look, this is the second most amount of wins in one season for the Vikings that they've ever had.
Ever. What was the year they had 15? That flashed across the bottom of the game.
That is the Gary Anderson missed field goal in the NFC Championship season.
Ooh.
Yes.
Sorry to bring that up, Vikings fans.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
What are you guys excited about? What's your most exciting game, or who do you have your eyes on?
It might be a little bit surprising because, honestly, I think quite a few of these games are kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Besides Jaden Daniels
think,
going to Tampa Bay.
I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna be chalk. So I got Eagles Packers.
Okay.
Because this is a pretty. I just find these two teams so interesting. You got to throw out week 1. They were in Brazil. Jordan Love gets hurt. Like I just don't feel like you can really rely on that.
Mm-mm.
To see both of these teams, and now the Eagles have been without Jalen Hurts the last couple games. Jordan Love has been in and out of the lineup. But they kind of run the ball, and the Eagles really, really run the ball, but sometimes they air it out, and sometimes their defensive pass is good, and their secondary is really good, and sometimes the Packers can get an insane amount of turnovers, and their linebackers are incredible. So, we'll just see what Frankenstein team shows up for this. That's what I'm most interested in. This could be a Philly 40-0, 40-10, blowout kind of situation.
Probably
Philly,
should
right?
be.
It is in Philly,
Okay.
but Green Bay 370 yards per game, Philly 367 yards per game. So they're very, very close. Both have incredible rushing attacks, like I said.
But
Eagles,
that's the problem right there is the Packers' defense against the rush. Sure, statistically they look okay.
Yeah.
But they are not that good against rush. Rush defense-wise, that's not their strong suit.
Right, so that front seven's going to need to be ready to go because
Barkley's a
they might
different
get
animal
torn
this
up.
year.
well, because so the Eagles average 179 yards per game on the ground. That's incredible.
It's unreal.
And their passing game is 187 yards.
Which it used to be the opposite, right? Didn't
Yeah.
Hurts just used to sling it to people?
Well, he used to try his best, but he's really a running back who can throw.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true.
that's true.
That is true.
But Green Bay, I mean, they've got 146 yards on the ground per game. They run the ball a lot. Josh Jacobs had an amazing year.
Well, yeah,
so
I'm not taking anything away from Josh Jacobs either.
but it's all about ball control. So
But the Eagles are actually good at rush defense, aren't they?
it's gonna be a little shaky. And like I said, Philly only allowed 17 points per game, and Green Bay only allowed 19 points per game this season. So low scoring, ball control. Maybe we get Saquon 2 touchdowns and Josh Jacobs 1
I'm now
touchdown
excited for
kinda
this
thing.
game because now that you said that, I guarantee it's going to be 45 to 53. So
But it
here
could
we
be.
go. Yeah.
It could be Saquon is just busting it out on them, whatever. But there's
200
an
200
opportunity
yards
here.
and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
There's
that'd
an
be sweet.
opportunity. I think this is a fun matchup, and I think if Jordan Love, because look, everybody doubted the Packers last year, and they went into Dallas and beat the absolute crap out of them.
They made it to the conference championship?
No, they made it to the divisional round. They almost beat the
Divisional round.
49ers.
Yes, there it is.
Everyone should have beat
Oh,
the
yeah, the
49ers,
49ers.
and the 49ers kept
They-
coming back.
yeah.
I
Yes.
remember that game.
But yeah, the Lions and the Packers both should have beat the 49ers
Yeah.
last year.
Yep,
They
yep,
were
yep.
really choked.
So I think it'll be a fun game. I think it'll be interesting.
I actually think the most likely to be a fun game, and it's not going to be fun for us because it's going to be stressful, could be the Vikings and Rams.
Yeah.
And for you already said the reasons. There's plenty of offensive power. I think Darnold will bounce back at least a little bit. I don't think we'll get as horrible of an offense as we had. We have a strong defense, so it'll be interesting to see, like you said, if we can pressure him, Stafford. Maybe we can get something going on defense because turnovers in that game would be huge.
I think it'd be impossible to have a game like they just had. Even if they do half of what they did against the Lions.
Yeah,
they would have
Van
two.
Ginkel just gets a pick six.
That was sick. If he had that whole game would have been different because it was
been.
that would have been a 2-score game. They would have been down by 3 or 2.
Yeah,
something
was
like that.
Something close, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nuts. But I was saying, I don't think they're going to have another game like that. I think it's impossible just with that offense and how powerful it is and the option. Addison was unheard of. He wasn't even on the field. He was, but it looked like he wasn't. So that's going to be fun to watch.
So Jefferson had 115 yards against them in the game that they played earlier this year. So what does Jefferson need to be at? He had no touchdowns in that game. So maybe that's
against the Rams.
Against the Rams. Addison was a no-show in that game. Hawkinson was not playing at that point. Like, Aaron Jones was kind of iffy. He was dealing with some injuries, whatever.
I don't know if it's really what Jefferson needs to be in terms of yards. It's Jefferson, how much of a distraction is he going to be to that defense so that everyone's open?
I was just going to say that. He needs to be involved early. If they can get him some good early targets, some shorter routes, let him do his thing.
Bomb one to Addison.
It's going to open up everyone.
Yeah.
That's just how good that man is. Like, and then that's how well it helps the rest of the offense. So
right. But he can have our touchdowns. That'll be acceptable.
I think he's going to go for 85 and 1 touchdown. Addison's going to have about 55 yards, a couple touchdowns.
Watch your mouth.
I was going to say,
if
those are the yards you're going with, I think we're losing this game.
No, tight end. It's going to be well dispersed.
Unless you're saying Hawkinson's going to have like 250 yards.
No.
Jalen Naylor, 225 yards.
Darnold's going to do his thing. He's going to spread the love. Cook is going to do his thing behind the line, run. I think it's going to be a well-ran offense. I think O'Connell is just like, I effed up. So now he's going to come back and put something together.
All right.
Well, I hope you're right.
Is there anybody that you guys see that should be on like upset watch at all? Like, okay, so obviously you think Tampa.
Nope.
You don't think Tampa. So you don't
Tampa's
think
going to lose.
Okay, so
well,
yeah.
That would be an upset.
That would be an upset.
No, Kansas City. I think
Taylor,
they're on
there's
upset
no
watch.
such thing as a
You think Kansas City? Who is unseating them in the
Who
AFC?
would play him next?
I mean, it depends on who wins.
What are the options who would play them next?
The likely one is...
Okay, so if we're saying this is going to go, I think Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore win, and I think the Chargers win on the road.
Okay.
So KC would play the Chargers.
Kansas City would play the Chargers.
Yes.
In Kansas City?
Yes, they have home field advantage throughout the whole time.
Are
And
we
the Chargers
talking
are in their division.
Are we talking like second round upsets? Or are we talking just upsets throughout the whole playoff?
Upsets in general.
I don't think Kansas City is going to make it to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
yes, I think it's going to be an upset because
I don't
they
think
can't
Buffalo and Baltimore count as an upset in this case.
I don't think. Well,
Like,
it would be because
it would.
technically
it is
ranking
seeding
wise,
wise,
it would.
it is seeding wise. But does anyone truly believe that the Chiefs are actually a stronger team?
I'm going to take this approach. If we're going by the true definition of upset, seeding wise, Kansas City is going to get upset. They're not going to make the Super Bowl. Their offense is old. They don't have the firepower like they used to. Mahomes has been banged up. Their defense is it's pretty good because they're holding teams to 13 points a game, and they're scoring 14. So I don't think Kansas City is going to three-peat.
Swifties are going to come for you.
Well,
It's all right. I'm off the
if
Swifty and
you
Trev.
are-
I like them both, but I'm off the bandwagon.
If you're
Go Jaden Daniels.
wrong about the Packers winning that game against Philly, then I believe the Lions would.
Now,
should be upset.
hold on. I didn't say the Packers were going to win that game.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
said it was going to be it's the game that I'm most
Okay.
excited to watch.
I
is
thought
gonna
you
be
were saying
that
the
matchup.
Packers are winning
The
that.
Lions are not going to be upset.
If Philly makes it, I think they will.
I was going to
Dude,
say
the
Philly's a hard
Lions-
matchup for them.
The
I think Lions
look
as well.
good. Yeah, I know. I saw you said Lions.
I think the injuries will get to them at some point. They played out of their minds on Sunday night.
Mhm.
You got to give them that.
Or did they? Or did we just play right
And
into their trap?
They had another corner that got hurt that I don't think is playing this year or this upcoming week.
Well, Terrion Arnold is one of the worst rated cornerbacks in the NFL,
Maybe.
So that's okay.
And he was probably a cornerback.
Yeah,
number
but it does
4.
mean they need to find
The amount of
someone to
injuries they
replace
have.
him.
Yeah, so there's a lot of teams that can throw in these playoffs, and I think that is a big problem. Now, Sam Darnold crapped his pants, so maybe they can have that effect again. But a team, I mean, you want to talk about Tampa? Like, Tampa beat Detroit earlier this year in Detroit.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, but that was actually the rare case where they didn't have an offensive performance, really.
Right. So
16 points, if I remember right.
and Baker was ripping them apart. And last year when they played in the playoff game, like they looked pretty solid. The Bucs looked pretty solid against the Lions. So all I'm saying is I think, and especially like a team like Philly, ball control, run it with Saquon, really wear down that defense that does not have a lot for the front seven. I mean, Anzalone coming back is a great addition and everything like that. And Kirby Joseph is the dirtiest player in the NFL, so he's going to definitely try to blow somebody's knee out again like he did last year.
Poking people's eyes.
Backwards hurdle over him.
No, his thing is blowing people's knees out.
Oh, he goes for those chop blocks.
Mhm.
Yeah, so he tries to blow people's knees out.
Asshole.
Anyways, I think that there's a real opportunity for the Lions to fold, and honestly, I wouldn't blame them. And look, there's an opportunity here for Goff to crap his pants. We've seen him do it quite a few times. Now, my money, my actual U.S. currency is on the Lions to win the Super Bowl.
I
Same.
actually 100% agree with what you're saying.
I have money for them to win, so
Same.
I just want to put that out there. But if they lose before reaching the Super Bowl, I will be shocked. I will not be shocked.
I think they easily make the Super Bowl if by some long shot the Packers can eliminate Philly for them. Like I feel like it's a free road for Detroit.
Yeah, I don't think if Minnesota plays them again, I don't think that will go well.
I think we could get a closer game. I don't think we win it.
No.
The Packers playing them, I think they get just annihilated.
Yeah.
Because they have to go through Detroit. They got home field until New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Only crazy one that could beat them is probably actually Tampa again. And that has to be that Baker is just on fire the entire playoffs.
He might be. He might be throwing for 450 yards, 3 interceptions.
But for 3 games in a row? 3-4 games in a row?
You never know. Baker's kind of crazy.
I was going to say, Baker is like, he's kind of morphing into Brett Favre in a way.
Just slinging it with like
Well,
2-3
look,
interceptions a game. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to eliminate those interceptions before.
But he almost threw for 5,000 yards this year.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, he was just below Joe Burrow
Yeah.
in total yardage. And Joe Burrow was really letting that Brett Favre hang out. And not by stealing COVID money to build a volleyball center kind of thing.
they
like
didn't
actual
play the
football
Rams, did they?
performance.
Like, Detroit,
Yes.
they did.
Yes. And they
What was the
the
score? Was that a close game?
You think I fucking know that off the top of my head?
Well, okay, I don't care what the exact numbers were, but do you know if it was close?
Just give me a minute and I'll look it up, man.
Okay,
It was the first game of the year, I'm pretty sure.
because I'm kind of curious how they'd match up.
What game was that? Tampa and who?
L.A. or the Rams and Detroit.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the first game of the year. It was in
I
overtime,
don't think
26-20.
So I don't think the Rams would pull it off, but like they could put up a fight, I guess.
But also, you've got and Puka barely played in that game too. Again, that's week one matchup type
Oh, so that's
thing.
irrelevant.
So I guess if I'm looking at my notes, yes, Washington over Tampa would be the bigger upset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be the biggest probably in the NFC
Yeah.
side.
So I'm thinking
On
two,
the NFC side of things,
NFC. I'm thinking 2 upsets.
Honestly, if Houston wins, I feel like that is a bigger upset. Like, I would be shocked if Houston beats the Chargers.
No.
I would be shocked.
No. If Houston wins more than one, I would be just shocked. But the Chargers doesn't really shock me that much.
And I guess actually Denver beating Buffalo would be
That would be awesome.
would be
That'd be
That'd
unfathomable.
be
Sweet.
awesome,
That'd
but
be
I really
sweet.
want Buffalo to do good too.
What if
so,
Bo
like,
Nix just lets it hang out and just takes his team, puts it on his back, clips on the backpack, and goes?
The unsufferable bastard that is Sean Payton would be
Ooh.
a horrible monster.
What if we have 2 rookie QBs win games?
What if we have 2 rookie quarterbacks in the Super Bowl? You ever think
That
about
would be insane.
That would be insane.
That's
That
what
would
we're
be
rooting
crazy.
for.
So
Washington.
I
and
just want
Broncos.
good football games.
Yeah.
Like I've jumped on this football analytical thing this year pretty much with Washington and watching the Vikings a little bit and actually paying more attention to games. I want good games. I don't care if they're shootouts, 40-50. I really don't care. That's fun to watch. Just
You know who
those
would've
drag
made
out
really
games, like Steeler games. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're hard
Yeah.
to watch. But
Do you-
the most fun to watch, if they would have made it, upsets definitely could occur with the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
And that's that we can hop right into that. So
Oh, yeah.
that's like if you want someone in the playoffs that didn't make it, the Bengals. You're looking at Joe Burrow, who has an MVP potential, who was just throwing it all over the place. I don't know how many interceptions he had. You said he was pulling a Brett Favre thing.
Yeah.
You had
Not important.
not important.
Not
Doesn't
important.
matter.
He almost threw 50 touchdowns this year, though.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then you had
Unreal.
Jamar Chase, who is going to be the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got it, right?
He's got it.
He's got it. And then you had one of their defensive guys, again, don't know his name, leading the league in sacks.
Trey Hendrickson had 17 and a half sacks this year.
Yeah. So you had just...
Unreal, and they're not a playoff
They're
team.
not a playoff team.
Yeah.
They're not a playoff team.
Well, you can't lose to the Patriots week 1 and screw us over and run your pool league.
Don't even
Yeah.
don't even bring it up.
I thought there was going to be 2 winners in that. Someone actually won
Yeah.
the whole 800 and whatever. That's
40,
it's a nice little...
149 or whatever.
Yeah, good for them.
That's been a nice little set of new irons, but we
So
gotta go backwards.
I think we're all in agreement that Cincy being in there over like the Chargers and
Would be the
Pittsburgh and
most
Denver,
exciting.
It would be so much better.
like Joe Burrow going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like the Bengals versus Buffalo, like first round, would be unreal.
That would be an awesome
Unreal.
one. And then they also are maybe the most likely to also beat the Chiefs again. Like
Yeah.
and make
They'd
sure
have a
it
shot,
happens.
man. They've had a shot. They lose
Yeah.
to the Patriots, but they beat the Chiefs. Let's go, baby.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean they're for sure. From the NFC side, there's like nobody.
No.
There's nobody that I wish was like, God, I wish you were here. Even my beloved Seahawks, like you guys.
They'd be probably
they
the closest
stunk,
though.
man.
They got to be the
I
closest.
know,
Like,
but they
who else?
stunk. They just
Like
stink.
Atlanta
They never put in your
failed it
guy.
themselves.
They never put Sam Howell in.
I know he couldn't
They
go
did one time.
Joe
They
Burrow
did.
Jr.
It didn't go very well.
Oh,
He couldn't go Joe Burrow Jr. and
love
throw
that.
for 500.
I
and
love
4
that. He
interceptions.
is Joe Burrow Jr. Oh, I love that. Sam Howell, I love you. Come to the Vikings.
minus the hair.
Come to the Vikings.
Is that what we're gonna
Oh,
do next year
man.
when Darnold's gone?
That's right. Let's trade J.J. McCarthy. Get rid of Daniel Jones.
Oh no!
Let Darnold walk out the door, and we get Sam Howell. And
All
we
right,
let
we're losing it.
No,
We're
that's a
losing
good
it.
transition. You know what I heard today? Let's
JJ McCarthy.
let's transition into some draft ideas. Ready? Here's it. Well, first next year's draft.
Well, if your
I
idea's
was
as
gonna say,
crazy as that,
Maybe let's go through some draft order stuff.
Okay,
here,
go-
and then you can hit us with the J.J. McCarthy nonsense.
I will hit you with the JJ
Okay.
McCarthy nonsense and what? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the top 10. So if people don't know, the Pats going into the last week had the top pick. Now they went ahead and won that game against Buffalo, so they went from 1 to 4. So Titans are number 1, Browns, Giants, Pats, Jags, Raiders coming in at number 6. Then there's the absolutely atrocious Jets, the Panthers, who are fun. They're fun. The Saints and the Bears.
It ended kind of fun.
They are fun. Bryce Young.
I
is
like
fun.
Bryce Young now.
Bryce Young is
he's
fun,
fun.
man. He's slanging that
True.
thing too. But there's the top 10. Interesting stuff. I think this is a weaker draft class.
Yeah.
So not exactly
is.
great to be a top 10 team this
That's
year.
what
No.
I'm curious about. Like, how many
So this is
of
where
these
the,
teams are grabbing quarterbacks?
so
in
this
a
is where the JJ
crappy-
McCarthy crazy stuff comes in, and I
Oh,
heard it
my.
today. Mike
no.
Greenberg, you know that guy?
I'm aware of Mike Greenberg. Yes.
I like him a little bit.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So before I ask you this, you remember Mike and Mike? You ever watch that? Mike Greenberg and Mike.
Yeah, I feel like they fired the wrong guy though.
yeah,
I like Golick a lot. more.
Golick was a good guy.
Yeah. Sorry.
Greenberg
Go ahead.
Greenberg's not as crazy.
What does Mike Greenberg have to say about JJ McCarthy?
But before we hop into that, I want you to look at that list. Who needs quarterbacks on that list?
I mean, how do you feel about Will Levis? Okay. Yeah. So Titans.
Titans.
Deshaun Watson is going to get paid like $60 million over the next 3 years.
Be
So
useless.
the Giants have nobody. The Pats have
True.
Drake May,
True.
who they just
Yeah,
drafted.
and he's actually looking all right.
He looked
the
better
end.
at the end of the year.
The Jags have given a bag to Trevor Lawrence.
Mhm.
So,
Whether that was the right choice or not.
well, it's too bad you got it now.
yeah.
The Raiders have, I think you two are going to be going to training camp for them.
I'm ready.
The Jets have Aaron Rodgers, who might run for Senate, might come back and play in the NFL,
Might move to Africa.
might go to Peru.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what he's going to do.
So-
Panthers are the next greatest quarterback, Bryce Young. The Saints have Derek Carr and a lot of money invested in him, and the Bears obviously have
Yep.
Caleb Williams.
How much are
And
they paying Derek Carr?
A little less than what Kirk Cousins is getting paid.
a lot.
Like, seriously, like about $5 or $10 million a year less.
And he had a strong 2 games.
The three main quarterbacks coming out that are projected right now is Shador and Cam Ward from Miami. Shador is Colorado. And then the kid from Notre Dame, depending upon how he does, continuing with all the playoff football stuff that he's got going on. The point that was made by a collective group, but Greenberg led it, was if J.J. McCarthy was in the draft, he would be hands down by far the best NFL-ready quarterback to get put into a system this year or next year. So he made the proposal of, why don't the Vikings, this is what Sam Darnold has done this year, why don't the Vikings use him as trade leverage, trade up, get what they want to shore up something in their system. You guys would know what they need better than I would. And ride with Darnold. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
No, too much money.
But yeah, so this is the problem. So,
but McCarthy has not proven himself yet. And honestly,
yeah, but
with the
Darnold,
knee,
Darnold's still Darnold. He had a great season. We can
come on.
Darnold
he had
is
a really good season.
Darnold is more than
deserves another
Darnold.
shot.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Sorry, I'm not taking away that he doesn't deserve another shot. I'm just saying that we don't need to keep him when we have our upcoming quarterback, and we're got him on a contract that you don't have to pay him.
So this is the problem with that logic.
Yeah.
So free agency is before the draft.
Yep.
So we have to re-sign Darnold.
Yep.
Going into that. If a team sees that, they're not. If the Titans see that, they're not going to say, "Well, we will straight up McCarthy for number 1 pick." They'll say
it might not be the number 1
straight
pick.
up
They can
for,
trade up.
Right,
however
but it
they
might
want.
be second or third rounders. Like this is part of the problem is they know what our plan is. If we sign Darnold long term, then he is going to be our quarterback.
Yeah, true.
So maybe the Jets. I mean, they enjoy trading with us.
So for you guys
Darnold's
who
earned
understand
his money, but not the Vikings paying him $40 million worth of money.
You guys understand all this a little bit better than I do. So not logical, doesn't make sense. Not something that is probably gonna go over on paper.
But I would just say first rounder is not going to happen because nobody knows what he's going to be able to do.
Yeah.
So
McCarthy, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if people want to take a flyer on him,
that was the thing though. Do you take a flyer on Cam Ward? Do you take a flyer on Shador?
I would on Cam.
I wouldn't on Shador.
I wouldn't on Shador.
I would. Cam has potential. He reminds me of who just got in for Phoenix? Not Phoenix. Jeepers. Who just got in for Kirk Cousins? Where did he play?
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, not Jamarcus Russell. Oh, excuse me.
Penix?
Yeah, what about him?
Cam Ward reminds me of him, of what he has been doing.
So, an absolute freak athlete that rocks.
Yes. So, yes, take a shot
on him. I like Michael
Penix
too.
No, I do too.
I
so
do.
Take a shot on him. But, yeah, you're taking a flyer on any of those three guys. So, say someone did want JJ. You're taking a flyer on him because he hasn't shown anything. He threw for 4 passes in the preseason game I saw, and he looked pretty darn good, and then he got hurt.
I think you rock with both of those guys next year for the Vikings. But I understand what you're saying.
Wait, that was a who? Who are you saying now?
You roll with Darnold and McCarthy next year.
Oh, you do want to keep Darnold.
Yeah,
you have to.
I definitely do.
I do not.
So that was just a crazy thing I saw. Now we can jump into other draft stuff. I don't think people should take a chance on Shador. Someone will. Yeah, I don't know. That's a whole nother podcast.
Since you're the college guy.
Yeah.
Can you give some context to the Travis Hunter phenomenon?
He's an unreal athlete.
So is he number 1 pick worthy? Okay,
yes.
So you're the Tennessee Titans.
Oh,
your
Tennessee.
offense is garbage.
Yeah.
And he's going to play both ways, I'm assuming.
That was one of my questions to you guys. I don't think someone's going to risk that much money and have him play both ways to increase his chance of injury. I don't think he's going to play.
He should not either.
And he shouldn't either. Yes, if he wants a longer career, he should not play both ways.
Because the average salary for cornerback versus wide receiver is, it's literally like a 50% bump if you go to if you're a wide receiver instead of playing cornerback.
I don't know how tall he is though.
But this is what I'm wondering.
Doesn't matter. He's a freak.
If you're Tennessee and you're looking at this weak draft class, you have instability in your offense. Mm-hmm. You have Brian Callahan is his first year this year.
Mm-hmm.
They just fired their GM this morning.
Saw that.
Who made terrible decisions and went on a spending spree in free agency that did not do anything to help them out.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm holding on to this number 1 pick because it's pretty clear what I need. I need a quarterback.
Yeah.
I need something that I can actually set a foundation.
So that's where people are hoping that Tennessee keeps it, and they pick a quarterback in Ward or Shador, and then Travis is now going to drop to what are the next three?
Browns, Giants, Pats.
If he drops to the Pats by some crazy, unreal phenomenon, Drake May and him, give them 2 years together maybe. Because, again, Drake May didn't look too bad at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a deadly combo. But I don't think someone's going to let him drop that low.
And, I mean, like, there's other situations here where for, like, the Browns, they're in a cap space hell situation.
Mm-hmm.
So they desperately need to hold on to this pick so that they can have somebody on a rookie sliding scale.
Exactly.
But they're not going after quarterback.
No.
And, honestly, they need to go after any secondary player that you would like.
Yeah.
Any offensive lineman that you would like. Like, that is what their priority should be. Now, are they going to do the Browns thing and pick Travis Hunter? 100% possibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
And then how does Travis Hunter and his team leverage what we just talked about?
Will they pull an Eli Manning?
Will
They're like, I'm not going to San Diego, baby.
Will they be like, hey, this guy is not going to play defense. He is only going to be a wideout. Are they going to make that? Are they going to declare that? Or are they going to let it ride out? He's going to go through training camp and be like, now, for views and money and the NFL being the NFL, is he going to try to play both ways? I think you see it like the first couple games if he stays healthy.
Now, when does Dion slide into this?
He's already in it.
Does he slide into it and say, hey, New York Giants, you guys decided to hold on to your head coach and your GM after having shit year after shit year.
Yeah.
You want my son to come? I'm coming too.
No.
You don't think so?
No, he's not going to leave Colorado. Sanders.
Are they going to do anything? Like,
no, but the hype's like, there, the money's there, the AD's behind him. Like, I don't think, and Dion, I don't mind Dion. He's a little crazy sometimes. He has a point. He doesn't want to deal with people like himself. He doesn't want to deal with those professional players getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. Now,
but his son gets paid
NIL, yes, you're right. They can get paid millions of dollars, but it's life-changing for them. Million is a million, don't get me wrong. It's not 25 million. It's not 30 million. It's not those crazy numbers. He doesn't want to deal with that.
Okay.
Because
not those crazy numbers. I'd call that a crazy number if I was in college making $1 million.
Oh, for sure, 100%. No, but it's not the NFL crazy numbers. And also, on Colorado, you had 2 guys making that. Everyone else, I don't even know if they were sniffing NIL deals. You know what I mean? So you can probably put up with 2 people with big heads, and one was his son, and then the other one was Travis Hunter, which seems like a pretty grounded dude looking at interviews and reading things.
Interesting girlfriend.
I have not dove into that whole thing.
You know, it's a black hole of hell.
Blue Mountain State.
You know, it's interesting when they're comparing to Manti Te'o's invisible girlfriend. You know, it's interesting.
Well,
and that's all I've seen.
I still hope that girl is okay.
Oh man.
But this is kind of like leads to a lot of coaches have been fired, and there's a lot of openings. And I wouldn't say these are the most desirable jobs. Chicago's open, Jacksonville, the Jets, the Saints, and New England are all open right now. Where do people want to go? And I mean, this is like a bigger question of like, you're building these teams. These teams are all in the top 10 for picks this year. Mm-hmm. There's no way that any of these teams are like going to be out of the top 10 next year. Like, I don't know how they.
Where would you go?
That.
I think I know where I would go.
I mean, I think I would go to Chicago.
Chicago is my number 1, and then Patriots are my number 2.
But the Patriots situation, they fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year.
Yeah.
They fired him after the game, before he hit the locker room, before he got a shower in. They're like, "Hey, buddy, just to let you know, there's a pink slip in your locker."
And we talked about that earlier. Did they potentially do that because of him winning and they dropped their picks and stuff like that? Now that's all speculation.
I like the conspiracy, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but I think Joe Milton was whipping that thing, man. Oh, he looked good. He had some incredible bullets.
I would agree.
Where I was like, oh, maybe there's a little competition with Drake May.
I would agree with you in Chicago. That'd be my first pick because Caleb Williams, the aura he's got around him, no matter how many times he paints his nails, the dude can play ball. He just needs a better squad around him.
Yeah, he needs an adult as his coach.
Yes.
I was gonna say I don't know.
And he needs 1 or 2
Squad
years.
Might not even need that much.
And he needs
change,
1 or
really.
2 years to settle into a system. That's with any of these rookie quarterbacks. Like, it's going to be interesting. I know we keep going back to Viking stuff, but we're from Minnesota. JJ, when he gets a chance to play, it's going to be interesting to see like what he's learned, what he's picked up, how he's matured, how strong he's gotten. It's kind of like a Favre and Rodgers situation when you're just like, okay, Rodgers sat for long enough. I'm not comparing him to Rodgers. Nice. But it's one of those things that's like you need to let these good, talented young quarterbacks mature. So I would like Chicago, but if Hunter somehow drops to the Patriots, I think that's going to be notoriety to that coach. And if that coach can do something, I think he's got a decently secure job for 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think just the Jacksonville Jets and Saints jobs. I mean, first of all, the Jacksonville job, the GM is still there. The GM has been a part of that team through 3 head coach firings now. And the owner said that the head coach is going to answer to him now and not the general manager next year.
Really?
Which I've never heard of that before.
Head coach is going to the... Is
So,
that
bad
a
situation. Bad situation there. The Jets, they're always putrid. Woody Johnson's a joke of an owner. He listens to his kid and watches 2K ratings. And the Saints are, again, they're similar to the Browns where they're in cap hell and have Derek Carr. Wouldn't want to touch them with 20-foot pole. The Caleb Williams or Drake May. And that's why I think if you're like Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, you gotta pick one of those two.
Yeah.
You got to, because you can actually like groom something there.
Yeah.
You can actually get something together. But I think this is a part of like probably my biggest lesson that I learned from watching this NFL season is don't bail on quarterbacks too early.
No.
I think we've learned that. Bryce Young got benched in the middle of the season, had a great end to his year. Baker Mayfield was kicked to the curb by the Browns, was in Carolina, was in LA, and now he's found this great place in Tampa. Sam Darnold, again, similar situation. Jets, Panthers, there's a trend here. Rams, or 49ers, excuse me, has found a home here. Penix didn't get to play a lot this year, but he looks pretty solid.
Yeah.
He's going to get an opportunity. Caleb Williams finished the year a lot better. Drake May looked okay at times. Jaden Daniels looks great. Bo Nix, who I thought was just a flat-out joke.
Yeah,
of
early in the year.
He just looked great.
Yeah.
So there are these quarterbacks that I just feel like everybody is like, well, we didn't win with them in year 1 and 2, so we need to just run away from them.
Yeah.
As fast as possible. And I feel like this lesson is going to be learned. I mean, even like somebody like Geno Smith, who got kicked to the curb when he was with the Jets. Maybe that's the trend. Kicked to the curb when he was with the Jets, was the backup for the Eli Manning and the Giants, and then found a home in Seattle. Like, there are some really good redemption stories. Jared Goff is the biggest one of them all, I would say. Got traded to Detroit for peanuts. Got made fun of from everybody. The freaking Rams go and win a Super Bowl, and he's sucking ass in Detroit. And look at what's happened. He's been an MVP candidate. So I would just say
for peanuts.
Peanuts.
Like Stafford wasn't
just nothing much.
Really.
They sent Jared Goff to Detroit to die. That was disrespectful trade.
For sure.
That was a disrespectful trade, and now they have made the most of it.
They did,
and done really well.
Okay, there's a little more to that trade
anyways,
considering there was a Super Bowl involved.
Let me finish my
but
train of thought here. Let me finish my train of thought here. I don't think bailing on any quarterback early is the right play anymore.
No.
I think you got to see things out. Now, look, Justin Fields, lost cause. Just don't think that's going to work out. Sorry, buddy. He's in
Dallas?
Pittsburgh, and he's not playing.
Oh, he's in Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah, he's in Pittsburgh.
Trey Lance
is
is the one who... Go ahead and bail on that one, too.
He's in Dallas.
He might be worse than Josh Rosen was as a pro. Like, there's a real possibility there. Trevor Lawrence, hold out for him, man. Like, he won a playoff game. Like, there's something there. Kyler Murray, would love it if you were taller. But, unfortunately, you are not. Just like myself, I wish I was taller. Didn't work for me either. But I just think that's kind of the biggest thing that I took away from this year is don't bail on quarterbacks. Because, like, you got a chance. but you're going to actually have to develop them.
Yeah.
And you also have to develop the team to actually
Exactly.
fit the quarterback you got.
Exactly.
I think that's part of this redemption too, is that some of these guys are falling into places that actually are built for them.
Yeah.
Like
So-
maybe they weren't built specifically for that guy, but they happen to fit that.
But
scenario.
they came into a system that it
the
was an
matches.
easy,
Yeah.
quick learn. Like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I got.
Yeah.
Let's take Darnold since we keep talking about him. I got Jefferson. I got Addison. Okay, I got a decent running back. I have a decent tight end. I
Yeah,
can do
and
things now,
For
and I have
a
an
lot of the
O-line that will
season, they
protect me.
blocked long enough for him to hold it for 4 seconds. Like,
Exactly. So it's one of those things where I agree with you, Matt. These young quarterbacks are way too athletic, way too smart. They're going to the league for a reason. Like you can't bail on them right away.
I want to contradict myself a bit more here.
Do it.
It's okay to bail on Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. I think that's a lost cause.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
think it's
pulling
gonna
himself
work,
out of
man.
games. That's pretty bad.
And Will Levis, I don't think it's going to happen for him. I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
Here's a question. So we just got done talking about quarterbacks. Don't bail on quarterbacks. Running backs are never too good of a thing to take pretty high in the NFL draft, right? From your guys' perspective, yeah.
I don't know about that.
Or is it? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, do you
Some
jump-
have been panning out quite lately. Like,
Yeah.
you
So
got
here's my
some teams
question.
getting
You have
really-
the kid from Boise State,
Yes.
and you have
Yes.
yeah, and you have the
Yes.
kid from Tennessee.
No, not
Oh.
him.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes. Ashton Genty?
Genty.
Genty?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely going for it. Yes.
And
1
then you
million
have
percent.
Dylan Sampson. So those are the two top-rated running backs right now
I didn't put a.
that are coming in.
I mean, blanking on
That
his
I
name,
looked at-
What's his face from?
I looked at it quick. I didn't like dive too far into it, but the Tennessee guy
was it
popped up
ASU
quick.
or whatever.
Oh, that little
What is his
short.
name?
Scatabo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scatabo.
I thought
He looks like he was born under a bridge. Sorry. I mean, he looks like a goblin.
do you jump on any of those three?
No.
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 Early?
I mean, here's the thing. You can either be in the logic of sign Saquon for a lot of money.
Yep.
Or let Saquon walk.
Yep.
And,
And go somewhere else and probably do
and
what he
you
just did
look
this year.
terrible when you were the Giants and you let him walk, right?
Yeah.
But there's been so many instances where letting the guy walk when you're a running back and just replacing him with somebody in the draft is a better situation.
Right.
But I'm glad you brought this up because here's another thing that I found very interesting this year. So this year, there's a lot of good running backs.
Yep.
Saquon, over 2,000 yards. Derrick
In the
Henry,
NFL,
almost,
yes.
almost there.
Yep.
Like all these really great things. So it was very close to 120 yards per game
For Saquon.
for the NFL.
Oh.
There was almost 120 yards of rushing every single game. Very,
Okay.
very close. You guys want to know something interesting about that?
Yeah.
So this is the highest mark since 2022. 2022, I think there was 121 yards per game. Now get this, before that, these two marks, 2022 and then this year,
Mhm.
for the rushing yards per game, the highest since 1988.
Dang.
So it has been a long time since we've seen rushing performances from teams
Yeah.
like this in the NFL. Back in the 80s where that's what you did. You ran the ball.
Yeah.
You didn't do a whole lot. Now you can go back to the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s and they're like 250 yards per game of rushing because
Yeah. You're
obviously they had,
a
like
lot more carries.
caveman trying to throw the ball back then. But
True.
But I do think that this bears mentioning that investing in running backs has been a great thing.
Yeah.
You invested in the Ravens, put a bunch of money into Derrick Henry. Great. Worked out incredible.
Mhm.
Saquon is going to win Offensive Player of the Year this year. Joe Mixon. The Texans traded a 6th-round pick for Joe Mixon last
Look
year.
at Detroit's
Yeah.
situation.
Detroit.
Gibbs.
David
Yeah.
Montgomery, nobody wanted him, and they drafted Gibbs higher.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he got hurt.
And
Montgomery's out.
right, he got hurt.
Well, he's coming back, isn't he?
I don't think so.
I thought he was back
He's
for
coming
this
back.
game
Is
or
he?
the next game.
Oh, okay.
Josh Jacobs, they put a bunch of money into him. Chase Brown was a guy that was a late draft pick. Devon A-Chain. Jonathan Taylor, they paid a lot of money to. James Conner, they paid a lot of money to. They extended him. Aaron Jones, we spent money on this offseason.
Worth it.
There is something to
Yeah.
investing in these running backs a lot more. again, it goes back to the quarterback thing. Don't bail.
Yeah.
Don't give up on them.
Yeah.
Don't bail on Bucky Irving.
Don't bail on Bucky Irving.
Before you jump into your NFL superlatives to end the night, is it? I'm going to propose a question to you guys. The big time old head sling it quarterbacks, Brady, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, all those guys are gone. Do you think it's because of the new young talent coming in, where they're trying to have a more balanced attack, when you can't just say, "Hey, go, Tom Brady, go out and throw 45 passes for 450 yards."
Passes are gone. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you could say pocket passing's gone. Yeah, well, it kind of is. Do you think that's why the running back and the running attack is coming back a little bit more?
Well, think about from the defensive side. They have to invest in more cornerbacks, more secondary guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not running Tampa 2 out there anymore because they don't have to have Warren Sapp in the middle of your defensive line.
True.
So when you take that away, and the middle of the field gets soft, you can run the ball a lot more.
Yeah.
All these things
It's
fluctuate.
just like a cycle of
Yeah, all
bring
these
back
things
the run,
fluctuate.
bring back the pass, bring back the run.
Exactly.
That is true. You can probably look through patterns.
So now Joe Burrow, I believe, is standing on the corpse of Tom Brady as far as the gunslinger goes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll still get some guys, but like Tua, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, like a lot of these guys are not going to be like that. I don't think Jordan Love is going to be like that.
No.
I think they're going to have some offensive identities that are wrapped up in run the ball, run the ball.
Well, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix is pretty mobile, like all those guys.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So
The two quarterbacks that are coming out, Shador and Ward,
mhm.
those guys use their feet constantly.
I like Cam Ward.
Yeah, I do too.
I like Cam Ward a lot.
I do too. We'll see where he goes.
If I'm the Raiders, I'm figuring out a way.
I like it.
Or honestly, actually, if I'm the Giants, I'm digging my heels in and I'm like, nope, taking Cam Ward,
Mm-hmm.
not Shador.
Yeah.
I'm not messing with that.
Even though he wore New York Giants shoes to his last bowl game.
It's so stupid.
Come on now. I love it. We've covered a lot today. We covered playoffs. We've covered some draft ideas and draft thoughts. We've covered a lot of the Vikings, which I think we kind of all know what our thoughts are on that game coming up on Monday. Let's hop into some NFL superlatives to end the night with Matthew Lambert over there.
I think it's just nice to give out some awards.
I'm in.
You know?
I'm in. I'm all ears right now.
Did you guys get any high school superlatives at all?
Yeah.
I did.
What did you guys get?
I got MVP my senior year, and then I think I took the most charges my junior year because I was just in there to play defense. So I think best defender.
Okay.
I don't remember what the exact title was, but it was something to do with seeing friends together often. So I think it was me and Brett. So weird. Stupid thing.
Oh, no. You want to know what mine was? It's way more stupid. I got voted shortest. There was a joke in my high school. So people call me Hobbit because people are mean, right? And they voted me for shortest as a joke.
That's
even though there
bullying.
was a lot of... I know it was. There's a lot of other shorter people than me. So that's my
That was yours.
superlative.
I like it.
Which, again, still mean. Still
Hey,
mean.
it's an award though.
It is an award. So let's give out some awards.
Let's go.
So most likely to succeed, gotta give it to the Chiefs.
But
I know it's gonna be gross, but think back to your high school days for the person that won this award. Do you think that person is successful?
that's the way you're going with this.
That's a great analogy.
Do you think that person is successful now? No, they probably work in like anthropology or something.
I think the individual's doing what he enjoys to do. I'll just say that.
Porn star.
Maybe.
So I don't know. I'm not going to bet against them. I would have said Detroit here, but
All right.
too many injuries.
What about Philadelphia?
No.
No?
No.
Who do they lose to then? Just the Chiefs?
Yeah. Honestly, if I was going to pick a Super Bowl that I'm using my brain, it's going to be Chiefs over Philly, and it's going to be a terrible game. My heart says Chiefs over Detroit.
I really hope it's not Chiefs over Philly. I would be very
That would be
disappointed.
terrible. It would be just like that last time they played. Class clown, we got to give it to the Jets.
That's a no-brainer.
What a sad sack organization led by a sad sack piece of crap.
You guys will never watch it, but did you know he has his own documentary on Netflix?
I would rather have bamboo shoots up my nails than watch 1 second
Woo!
of Enigma. I even know the
I
name.
would
and
rather
makes me
watch it
sick.
than
Yeah,
have
you
that
do.
happen, but I do not
Wow.
want to watch it.
All right. Next one.
Best bromance. Let's give it to Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold.
I love it.
Don't you dare say what
I'm-
you said after that, though. After
You know,
this
it's a
last
bit of an
game.
Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes relationship
No.
budding right there.
I love it. It
It's
is.
just nice. They bring the best out in each other,
Goodness.
right?
And you know what, fellas? They're going to do it again next year.
And I will
Yes, sir.
repeat that you're the reason we lost writing these things down.
Best dancer. Again, we got to stick with the Vikings here. This Cam Bynum and the Vikings.
Did they not do one in this last game?
No,
Oh,
I
so
That's what I was
disappointing.
going to
Ivan
ask.
Pace did his own thing.
Is
What
it?
the
He
heck?
did
Is
the
it?
worm.
Is it only when Bynum is involved?
No, it
with
is
the takeaway.
not.
It's
No.
everyone. That's what
It's
I thought.
everybody. It's everybody, and they had a takeaway in every single game this year.
Yes, impressive.
That's pretty damn impressive.
You know
So we
it.
got to see a lot of dances.
You know it's a big thing when the wives are watching the game,
Yes.
yelling at the TV about whatever they want to yell at. But when the interception happened, where's the dance? Show the dance.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the dance? Are they dancing?
Yep.
It didn't happen.
It was very disappointing.
Between Bynum doing the ray gun, the Australian breakdancer dance, the Parent Trap dance. I mean, the High School Musical
Camp
stuff.
Rock, High
Camp
School
Rock,
Musical.
Camp Rock. I mean,
Parent Trap was my favorite one. Parent Trap.
Even
Best
had
dancer.
a pretty impressive Usher glitch or whatever it's
Oh,
called.
yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was good.
That was pretty cool. So Cam Bynum, congratulations, best dancer. Most stubborn. We're gonna give this to the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins is the reason why they are not in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Michael Penix
Well, I
definitely
think
could have
they,
got them to the playoffs.
they switched the QBs at the dumbest time, though.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think
When it
Cousins
was too
would have
late.
got them to the playoffs too. Just then you're gone right away. But if you're gonna go with Michael Penix, then do it earlier than you did.
They benched him after the Vikings game, right?
No, they benched him after the Raiders game that they barely won.
Oh, yes. You're right.
And so most stubborn, we're gonna give it to the Falcons. Most changed, Commanders and the Chargers.
You can leave the Chargers out. I'm just kidding. They are
These-
pretty changed.
They had a combined record of 9-25 in 2023.
Yeah.
And look, they're both in the playoffs and
They're both 12-5 too,
new
aren't they?
coaches,
Still
great
not convinced
turnarounds.
with the
It's the
Chargers.
Herbaugh, John, Jim,
Herbaugh,
Jim.
Herbaugh,
No, John.
Herbert and Harbaugh.
Herbert and Harbaugh.
Harbaugh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that effect.
Harbaugh.
He's probably
Right.
stealing signs because you're allowed to do it in the NFL, and he's just winning games over there.
And Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels. So you got the win.
Yeah,
We'll do that. We'll take
I like it. I like it.
Dewan.
The one?
Yeah, just great turnaround for them. Biggest drama king. We're gonna go with the Bengals, but also Tyreek Hill, a late addition to this.
Yeah.
So the Bengals, Joe Burrow should be the MVP this year.
Mhm.
But he won't be. Led the NFL in passing yards and passing touchdowns. Jamar Chase, triple crown winner. Trey Hendrickson, most sacks. Just ridiculous that this team did not get
It's crazy.
into the playoffs here.
That's what happens
Very
when you
dramatic.
suck during your first
Very
5 games of
dramatic.
the year.
I'd argue that on the kind of, I mean, not from the talent that you're mentioning here, but another one that was dramatic with getting in their own way was the Bears.
Oh, absolutely, the Bears.
Yeah, they were pretty dramatic.
Hail Mary against the Commanders, and then everything goes to crap
Blocked
after
That
that.
was
field
great.
goal.
But
Gorgeous.
Tyreek coming out and literally saying, "Hey, I'm not playing here anymore."
Yeah,
I'm
Sam-
out.
Sam
is
out.
Crazy.
classic.
Incredible.
I need
Just
to do what's best for my
remarkable.
career. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna try to go to somewhere where I can win a Super Bowl.
I can't
Question
wait.
mark?
I can't wait to get traded to
It's
Cleveland in
like
the
watching
offseason.
Jimmy Butler.
Man,
I cannot wait to play for Las Vegas.
He's gonna
for
end
one
up in
season.
Tampa Bay, so Baker can sling it to him.
No, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
we can talk
I
about
like,
that
I
later.
like that a lot. And then the last one, biggest flirt. This is the Steelers. You guys were ushy gushy about the Steelers. I hated them all year, and now they've shown their warty faces.
I
to
said
us.
they'd make the playoffs. I did not have anything
They
else.
look like crap,
And they made the playoffs.
and they made the
And
playoffs.
they made the playoffs.
because they
They
got
lost
a
their
good
last
defense.
4 out of
Yeah.
their 5 games, didn't they?
Awful team.
Yeah. Last
Can't-
4, I think.
They beat Baltimore, Washington, and LA this year, and they've lost to Dallas, Indy, and Cleveland.
Yeah, I
What
think
is this team?
I really do think they're the worst team in the playoffs right now.
This is the girl giving you the eye and then kissing the 400-pound sumo wrestler.
Has that happened to you?
Yeah,
It happened to me once, yes.
Sumo
Yes.
wrestling in Pine Island, nice.
Well, we got some big boys in Pine Island.
Short big boys.
That's unfortunately yes. Unfortunately yes.
Oh man, I love it. Hey, that's the way we kick off season 2 of the podcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. Give it a listen before the games start. We have games. What do we say? Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, with all of them being on, well, most of them being on Sunday. Vikings play Monday. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoyed listening to us ramble on about stuff, please give us a review. That will really help us out. Give us a comment, give us a like, all that good stuff. Share it with a friend. We really do appreciate it. Until next time.